It's the Full Force News Burst, proudly brought to you by Battle Action Force, the Treasury editions. I am your host, Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80. Now let's get into the news. Hello and good evening and welcome to the show. Hope everyone is doing well on this Saturday, October the 11th at 6:41. That classic time to go live. I think I do this every single time, don't I? Anyway, I hope everyone's good. Hello, Mark. Hello, Blitz. Bit late in the day, of course, I know. And I did say I wasn't doing a weekly as such today. I'm doing sort of a, what do you call it? Like a recap of SDCC. And obviously, we're talking a lot of Skybound today. But also, the moment, of course, I went live, I finished going live yesterday. Of course, all the promo images show up, don't they? So we'll be looking at those as well. I know quite a few people are going to be heading to the Gramercy probably right now, actually. So hopefully I can finish before that kicks off for the live show for Slither in New York. But we've got loads to get through. Lots of loads of comic stuff from the week, and then of course all of the images, the promo images for the pre-orders that are going up on the 14th, of course. So there you go. And this. Oh my goodness, I'm not doing an unboxing yet, but obviously, I feel like Arnie right now carrying a tree trunk through the woods in the beginning of Commando. Yeah, we've got the MMS and Hawk now added to the list. I believe the divers are on their way. It's just absolutely non-friggin' stop, isn't it? In any case, let's get on with the show, and we're obviously starting with a huge chunk of comics news. So we'll do that first. So we'll start then with the sort of week's roundup of comics news that we would have done on the week, or I would have done on the weekly, that we didn't get to do for the last couple of days. So yes, so we'll start with the Slither comic, the whole Dreadnok War preview, issues and comics that have been out this week, and talking about those. So there are going to be spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. So please be wary of the spoiler fairy, which I suppose that's now my name, isn't it? Okay, right. We'll start then with this. Now, this was just announced at the time, kind of isn't really now, but the deluxe editions of book one of the new GI Joe Real American Hero as of 301, I believe, were announced. A kind of deluxe sexy book one that's GI Joe related, and an alternate Cobra version as well. Just as I realized I was doing this, I realized I hadn't got any of the information up, which I usually need to have, because there's going to be stuff that I miss by just by looking at the image on the screen is not going to help. So I just want to get the full-on blurb. But again, I will have to say while I'm looking for that, the A Real American Hero series has 100% kind of been, for me, kind of back on track. Like, it was going a little bit crazy bonkers with IDW. There was a couple of good shorts, kind of like what missions was it? The one with Dawn, Helix, Bomb Strike, Torpedo. I forget what that was called now. That was a really cool little side. Like, they had some like spin-offs basically that were doing really good stuff. Pulse had the snake armor up for sale 30 minutes ago. I missed it, says Joe. Oh no, that sucks. I do have my snake armor. I'm not getting multiples. That's ridiculous. Like, it's cool and everything, but forget about it. In any case, this is what it says on the blurb. Just announced, or this was 4 days ago. G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero Deluxe Edition Book 1 arrives in April 2026, collecting the return of the iconic series from Larry Hama, Chris Mooniam, Paul Pelletier, and superstar cover artist Andy Kubert. And I've said Paul's name wrong. It's Pelletier, I think. This is the perfect jumping on point for new readers looking to discover one of the most important comic series ever. Pre-order at your local comic shop or wherever good books are sold. They love that similar sort of cadence, don't they? Anyway, These look really nice, and like I said, Skybound just know how to do this, don't they? And I know this is kind of one of those things of like, I have all these issues, like I don't necessarily need anything like this, but then they kind of give you these sort of like little collected editions, and you're like, oh, you buggers. But anyway, they look really nice, cool covers. Obviously, we've got a GI Joe version with the Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Stalker, and whoever that is as well. I can't. Is that probably Duke in it? I can't tell. Oh no, it's Spirit, which is great. Yes, Spirit, Stalker, Scarlet, and Snake Eyes. And of course, for Cobra, we have Cobra Commander and something on fire in front of him as well. Looks like the Cobra logo on fire. A Crimson Guard, Serpentor, and a Cobra Trooper. Interesting choices for the Cobra one, but again, pretty cool. Sort of like your big names and your lackeys at the same time, innit? It's weird. But I like it. I like the covers. Very nice, lovely stuff. Twisted Kister says Skybound's A Real American Hero has been my most anticipated book every month. I caught some of the IDW end, but mainly followed Image DD for a bit. Well, I've got to say, the last issue, 321, which we'll talk about soon, is phenomenal. New comic book day as of October 1st, and that was obviously Cold Slither dropping. Now, I didn't manage to get to read this on the day. I read it like a couple of days ago and thought it was a lot of fun. Again, it's sort of like it's removed very much from the current continuities. It's very much a one-off sort of like, I mean, it is a one-shot, cutesy little thing where you're being, you're basically being narrated kind of like this documentary style with Hector Ramirez, 20 Questions. He's going to all of the old members of Cold Slither, kind of like as they get the band back together sort of thing, kind of interviewing them about that whole period of time and everything. And then there's a cute little twist in it. There's a fun little twist. I won't give the spoiler away on that one if no one's read it yet. But it's just fun. So get involved. It's a cute one. Jamie Lynn says, were you trying to remember Silent Option? Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to remember. And because obviously we've got Silent Missions recently, which has been a brilliant little mini series, that was on my mind and I couldn't get it out of my head. Can't get you out of my head. So anyway, Cold Slither, really good, really fun little sort of. It's effectively a what if, isn't it? It's not really connected to any continuity, and there has been a correction from the preview that was seen a number of months prior. So when they started showing sort of like interior preview pages of Cold Slither, one of the pages showed Cobra Commander on a HISS tank with some Crimson Guards in blue. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like it could be like, they could be doing like, something interesting with a blue Crimson Guard. They might be doing like, that might be something that is sort of foreshadowing maybe a classified sort of job. No, they fixed it. They're Crimson Guards now. I think what had happened there was whoever was coloring it just assumed they were sort of like Cobra Troopers, I believe, which it would have been. We've got the colorist here, haven't we? Yeah, Rex Locus. So maybe it was one of those things where they had not necessarily realized what they were coloring in that sense, and just went blue because of the Cobra Troopers. But we don't know. So, or maybe it was just one of those things that just what hadn't been completed or finished yet, and was just like like a placeholder. But either way, that is now in the actual issue itself has been rectified. So no blue Crimson Guards, which really, I mean, that's Cadet Deming's kind of territory as well, isn't it? And there's a random deep cut that I'd love to see in any of the toy lines, honestly. Anyway, that was New Comic Book Day for Cold Slither. Now, the reason I'm highlighting issue 25 of Transformers is because there was a massive character reveal, which has actually been, I suppose, spoiled since it came out. It's kind of, I mean, we reposted the Skybound sort of reveal of it as well. But again, if you don't want to know, turn off now, come back in about 10 minutes or longer. But yeah, there has been a big major character reveal in Transformers issue 25, and it is Miles frickin' Mayhem. Yes. Now, of course, Matt Tracker has shown up in the Energon universe already, and we'll come back to Matt in a little while because he he is going to be making a return to the Energon universe, courtesy of Skybound's panel today. But yes, Miles Mayhem is sort of working effectively with G.I. Joe at this, but let's face it, the military. He's working with the military at this point. And Optimus Prime is meeting Miles Mayhem for the first time. And Miles Mayhem, this is sort of like an origin situation going on here. So there's no hint here that he's a bad guy or anything like that. We know, obviously, what kind of person Miles Mayhem is. And also they've made him like hench, like obviously in the cartoon and the figure and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of figure, he was a bit of a rotund chap, wasn't he? Bit of a little beer belly going on. But this one is like no messing around. Dude is hench. Couchboy says, is Kirkman still doing an Energon cartoon, or was I lied to? So it's a little bit more nuanced than that, but there was a rumor going around that they had been greenlit for an animated series, and and that had been sort of poo-pooed by Kirkman and Skybound. But it's one of those things where they kind of, if it's not officially out yet, and they can't really be officially out with it yet, then they sort of have to deny it. So who knows? I think it's one of those things where there's no smoke without fire in regards to an animated series, but there's certainly no official sort of like yes, no sort of scenario right now. So it's really just a kind of blanket, no, that's not a thing. But you know, I would freaking love it if they transformed the, pun intended, Energon series into an animated series. I would be absolutely pants-wettingly excited to check that out. Scott says, Blue Crimson picks my brain wrong. True. The Blues and Guard. Just Under Anderson says, is Miles with mask? Well, lots of questions up in the air at the moment, Just Under, but I don't think so, because when we've seen Matt Tracker, he's effectively been sort of like, you know, in hiding, sort of like on the periphery. He's not sort of like making himself known. So the fact that Miles Mayhem is working with the military makes me think, oh, like the implication here is that, you know, the bad guys are in with the military, and that's going to taint what's going to happen going forward. Obviously it does make the story more interesting. Of course it does, doesn't it? Kind of tricking Optimus Prime being in the wrong side sort of situation. Next reveal, Airwolf is a Transformer, says the Hunter. That'd be cool. Highly articulated. Hello, mate. I'm very curious about this and the implication of potential future crossovers, given that Loyal Subjects is doing mask toys. Well, as you're very aware and probably noticed very recently in multiple different situations, it don't matter about if other companies have licenses or whatever. It just seems like licensing now has gone just absolutely bonkers. You've got multiple companies doing similar scales, same scales in some cases for the same brands. So I don't think it's really a concern, honestly, in that sense, mate. I think you're still probably going to get stuff crossing over with you know, with Hasbro stuff, because again, they're the ones licensing it out. They can do what the hell they want with it at the end of the day. It doesn't seem to be it's like the Wild Bloody West again, isn't it? Nothing seems to be like, you know, specifically exclusive, should we say. But yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about it. But you're saying curious as opposed to concerned, so I should point that out, that yeah, you're saying very curious about it and not like concerned. Scott says, no hint that he's a bad guy other than his name is Mayhem. Indeed, yeah. Miles Friendly is what you should be telling his name is. He got Ozempic, says Cashboy. Jello Ben says Kirkman said he was busy. Yeah. But that, you know, again, doesn't mean anything, does it? Like, I'm open to whatever news we hear in the future, basically, is what I'll say on that one. Hunter says, I think the Sapphire Guard has a nice ring to it. It does, actually. That's really good. Anyway, Miles Mayhem in issue 25 of Transformers. What a reveal. They also revealed a couple of Transformers characters as well. I can't remember who they were now off the top of my head. It was like Bulkhead, I think, was one of them, which was an interesting one because it sort of crosses over your your different types and styles of Transformers, because he's like animated mainly, isn't he? I know he's kind of been brought into other sort of facets since, but he's originally sort of that animated style. And I can't remember what the other one was. Someone will let me know in the comments, I'm sure. Yeah, Adam says, definitely not worried. Excited for what may come with all these IPs living in the same universe. Absolutely. Where is that Mayhem reveal? It's on here somewhere. I post too much, don't I? Would you say I post too much, guys? I'd say Bulkhead and Mirage. So that's really cool, because Mirage was one of my favorites as a kid. I loved Mirage. Mainly because, like, you know, they were quite expensive. Well, they weren't expensive Transformers, but they were like, you know, they're quite significant purchases. And when I was a kid, like, I did have quite a few. I really enjoyed them. But Mirage was one I had. Springer, Cyclonus, Prime, obviously, Megatron, Starscream. I'm just going to go through all of the figures I had as a kid, Transformers wise, all the Dinobots. I remember getting Slag. That was great. My nan and granddad bought me Slag. And I always found that name rather hilarious, even as a kid. But it didn't have the same connotation at that point, though. That's the other weird thing about it. It's so funny how Slag has changed so much over the years, from like Slug, Slog. I think he's had every different. You know, Slig. I don't think he's had Slig yet. Anyway, yeah. So definitely, yeah. Cool. Anyway, so that is Transformers 25. If you are into the Energon universe, read it. It's amazing. Now, oh my god, 321 was so freaking good. It is an absolute beauty of a silent issue. Obviously, it's kind of it's 21. Obviously, was the original silent issue. So they did it again with 321, and Snake Eyes and Dawn Moreno basically have to protect the pit from a really interesting attack. It's so good. And all I'll say about this one is I won't give away a lot of the kind of really interesting parts in it. I'm just going to say what I like about it. Chris Mooneyham's art is absolutely beautiful. Larry's sort of like storytelling of this particular kind of issue is absolutely on point. Like, this is comics at its best for me. Like, and also I didn't feel like I rinsed through it. Like in some silent issues, you tend to like I tend to just be like bang, 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 done. And it's kind of like, you know, not much to read, obviously, but like, you know, you kind of, it moves you pretty fast. What Chris seems to do in his artwork, and what Larry's doing in the storytelling as well, like the combination of both, really makes you linger on every single panel to really soak in the detail, the little kind of bits of information that you're going to need when it comes back the other way. You know, loads of cool stuff like that. And also, I'm just going to go out and say it. Are they filming an episode of American Gladiators in the pit at some point? If you've read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Slag, says Hella Geek. Yeah, exactly. I really want that 1 to 10 scale diecast kit they're releasing for $399. Holy cow. I haven't seen that. Actually, I have not seen anything of that, Justin. I'll have to look to check that out. Jedi Ben says Metal Foundry Leftovers is Slag to me. Indeed. Ryan Daly says, you think Slag has changed connotations? The style of music in the cantina in Star Wars used to be called... Yeah. It did, didn't it? It did, Ryan. I'm just going to say it. Jizz. Just under says, Larry doing a Snake Eyes Dawn story. Of course, he's going to kill it. Agreed. Bias is really trying to push the Moray 2026 HasLab, and it's fine. You can do that, Bias, as much as you like. I would and Blitz. I would absolutely love a Moray. Get it? That's a joke on multiple levels. Love a Moray. You'll only get that if you're, I don't know, my age. Maybe it was $299. I don't know how much it is, but I need to check that out. It sounds amazing. The kit, diecast kit. I don't think I've seen it. I honestly don't think I've seen anything about it. I must have been under a rock. It's not called Jizz Music anymore, ? Says Jamie Lynn. Anyway, issue 321, if you haven't read it, read it. It's brilliant. And I say read it, look at the pictures. It's phenomenal. It's a really good issue. And funnily enough, I'm going to read it again. I'm going to look at it again after this episode because I'm just that pumped about going through the details on it again. So it's just so good. Like I said, Chris's art is phenomenal. Larry's storytelling, as always, is sensational in an issue that is like, restricted in terms of its sort of like size, whatever. Anyway, absolutely phenomenal stuff. Get in there. Now, the Dreadnok War got a preview as well. We got some preview pages of what's going to be happening in the Dreadnok War, and obviously I'm going to flash them up on screen. But I'm trying not to read some of these. Oddly enough, here's me trying to spoil it for you, and also not spoil it for myself as well. But effectively, Duke is going out on some sort of lone kind of wolf scenario here. And ends up in the desert. And this is obviously where we're going to effectively have Duke, Cobra Commander, having to team up to effectively get out of this Dreadnok situation. It sounds amazing. I'm really excited about what actually happens in this arc. And here, of course, look at this, the Hiss tank with Cobra Commander in it and all the troopers around it. Very cool. So anyway, I'm excited to see, to get more about this. And obviously, like I said, if you want to read a little bit about the previews, then obviously you can find these on Skybound's socials and ours if you want to check them out a little bit more detail. But this one has also kind of had a little bit more sort of like information about it with the recent panel that happened today, which we'll be talking about very shortly as well. But there are loads, obviously, for G.I. Joe issue 13, tons of amazing covers. We've got Tom Riley's cover here, who obviously is now sort of exclusive to Skybound and G.I. Joe. So that's really fun and awesome. So we're getting some great work from Tom Riley, and he does some beautiful things. This is a great kind of like wraparound with this kind of big scene on it, very Mad Max style, very awesome indeed. We'll be talking about the Arctic Hiss Blitz in a little while. So yeah, don't have no fear. And then obviously these beautiful covers as well. We've got cover B by Mark Spears, absolutely gorgeous. Cobra Commander, one with the throne and the Vipers and everything. Oh, sorry, the Battle Android Troopers, not Vipers. Battle Android Troopers around him. Very, very cool. And also this beauty as well. I love these ones from Ben Oliver. The sort of like close-ups of the face. They're kind of very like, they're not even, it's not like they're super realistic. They're just really, really detailed. And there's a lot going on in them all, in sort of like the kind of like detail of the skin and like the missing teeth and all that, and the hair. It's just really, really cool. And I love Ripper's shades in this particular shot as well, this particular cover. Ryan Costello, hello Ryan. I'd be a lot more excited about Dreadnok War if it felt better built up. This feels more marketing driven than story driven. Okay, that's fair enough. If that's the case, I'm interested to see where it goes. And it's probably one of those things where it's like getting everyone excited because it's going to be like there's going to be like a lot of these issues are coming out thick and fast within a month, aren't they? So it's well, just over a month, but like we're getting a lot of issues with this one. So I don't know. I think I'm just excited to get more. It feels like more, but it's not really more. It's still, you still would have got the same amount of issues, I guess. They're just condensing it into a shorter space. Just Under says, what about a Rolling Thunder and Zartan's Swamp Skier for a HasLab? Rolling Thunder and Zartan's Swamp Skier, that is a random combination, Just Under, but I would love a Rolling Thunder, but it might be a little bit too big, honestly. Yes, hello, Ryan. And of course, we've got cover D, which is Jesus Marino and Adriano Lucas, who do the beautiful explosion background ones. And it's Buzzer with his chainsaw arm now. Very Evil Dead, isn't it? And that beautiful Zorana cover E with by Kendrick Kunka Lim. An absolute banger, that one. It's got it reminds me, because there was a whole there's a whole group of covers they did for that kind of like homaged Purple Rain. I've talked about this before, haven't I, with the Sorana cover. Sorana! It was Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow they've done on that kind of Purple Rain sort of like style cover. And this is like a bit of a zoomed in version of that, isn't it? Again, it's a motorcycle involved, so obviously it's going to have that connotation, isn't it? But just the vibe, the lights and everything. Very cool. Zavrana Blitz. A Rolling Thunder would dwarf even the Night Raven. It would dwarf everything. Um, yeah, but anyway, love this. I really like that Zorana cover. I think it's freaking awesome, honestly, and it makes me want to get motorcycles in the classified series. Please and thank you. When can that happen? There we go. And of course, more covers. We've got cover F by Ludo Lullaby, which is the pretty rad sort of like stylized, animated, stylized Destro. Looks very cool. That kind of disproportionate sort of like very exaggerated style, but really cool nonetheless. And then what looked like sort of Inferno bats as well, like bats, but just flamethrower versions. But yeah, very cool. Very cool indeed. And then my favorite cover, cover G, which is the blank sketch cover, which shows definitely the most um, shows the most quality, ingenuity, artistic styling, and all that kind of jazz. I'm joking, of course. Now let's get into day 3 recap of NYCC, which of course is all Skybound related. There we go. That was quite a nice little segue, wasn't it? Yes, just announced, I suppose, a few hours back. Road Pig is making his debut in issue 15 of G.I. Joe, and obviously during the Dreadnok War. And we've got designs. They showed off designs for Road Pig, and yeah, looks pretty dope, doesn't he? Very similar to his classified design. Excuse me, sort of like a more kind of like, more fridge than Prime Shack. I'm trying to think of like someone huge but also in like crazy shape. He's more fridge than he is LeBron James. So yeah, like the Road Pig, they've given him like a little bit of the belly. He's a little bit of a chunky fella, isn't he? But that is what they've gone with. And of course, he's got that pig mask that came with the classified version, sort of like the skull on the shoulder. So it's very classified style. Ryan says Skybound G.I. Joe is running through character hands like they're Skybound Transformers. That's actually quite true, isn't it? My God, you're actually right there. I mean, what was it? Buzzer lost his. Has Blood lost his yet? Blood's lost 2 eyeballs in his, which is crazy, isn't it? I think they're going to do some sort of like cybernetic sort of thing for him, just to kind of bring him back as a character. He's got a powerlifter's body, says Scott. Yeah, he kind of feels that way. Ryan says Road Pig and Road Block, the Road Warriors. Yeah, we'll be getting to that in a second as well. But anyway, can I just say how amazing that John Boy Myers cover is? Oh my word. And if you can't see it really clearly on this particular, screen or episode, if you're watching it on like a tiny phone or whatever, then definitely check these posts out on our socials, on the Skybound socials, because that cover is phenomenal. So good. And again, very much like, it's not the same style as Destro on the previous cover that we were talking about with Ludo Lullaby, but it's the proportional kind of aspect going on. A huge body, small head, and of course Raucous on the cover as well, which is dope. So Raucous getting his first appearance, I guess, as well. They're all talking about Road Pig. No one's talking about Raucous's first appearance in the media. That's great. Come on, animals, let's do it. Kitty said. Raucous is a good dog. I wanna hope, Scott, that Raucous is not one of those sort of like, problem is he's in the Dreadnoks. So I've got a feeling that he's obviously, the dog isn't a bad boy. They are, and they've made him, what he is, but the dog is completely innocent here. I feel very strongly about this. Anyway, Road Pig and Raucous making their debut in issue 15, which is awesome. Also into issue 17 as well. And again, we've got some bloody gorgeous cover reveals here for issue 17. Now, what part of the I can't even remember what part of the Dreadnok War we're now in with issue 17. I posted these earlier, man. It took me ages. ages. So it would be part 5. So it's the final part of the Dreadnok War in issue 17. And yeah, phenomenal. And what Skybound said in that, if I can find it, is, oh, how annoying. I'll have to go on their Instagram page. Sorry about this, guys. I just, unfortunately, if you bear with me while I quickly skim over there, because I just want to get what they actually posted in terms of the information as well. Okay, here we go. So the iconic Road Pig makes his debut in Dreadnok War. Get a first look at his cover debut in G.I. Joe 15 and future cover appearances in G.I. Joe 17. Stay tuned for more Energy on Universe news from Skybound. So there you go. Cover A by Tom Riley. Another wraparound. It's really good. Lots going on. Huge kind of fight going on there with Ripper and Buzzer and Xandar and Zarana. And of course, Road Pig, Raucous. And I think that's just some. Is that Duke dressed up like really weird and like Mad Maxy? I don't know. We're going to have to find out, aren't we? The Hunters. Why did Raucous have to be a Dreadnok? I know. But anyway, and then again, we get another great Ben Oliver shot. Now, doesn't this look like Brock? Yeah, Larry. I was literally just about to say that. The first thing that popped into my mind when I saw that close up of his face on the Ben Oliver cover, which again, I'm loving Ben Oliver's like just kind of head shots. He said comic covers, and I love what he did with Road Pig. But it is so Brock Lesnar, isn't it? Like a young Brock Lesnar, indeed. Yeah. So I've got to say, yeah, that is an absolute. It's just really good. But again, very detailed, lots of personality in that as well. He does look like a bulldog chewing a wasp, which is one of the best descriptions of Road Pig ever. And also, like, I think it was his Sonic Fighters version. The card art on Road Pig's Sonic Fighters version is one of the ugliest faces I've ever seen in my life, and I love it. One of my favorite pieces of card art. And Road Pig's original, the Earl Norham Road Pig, kind of like one where you're looking up from the ground up at him. That card art for the OG Road Pig figure is just perfect. Like Earl Norham did some of my favorite card back art for sure. Storm Shadow version 2, Road Pig. I even want to say Hydro Viper, although I think I was having a conversation with Carson, 3D Joe's Carson, a couple of years back about maybe that not being an Earl Norham piece. I'm gonna have to speak to him about that because he might have got more information about it. But in any case, I love me a bit of Earl Norham, and he seemed to do a Road Pig a lot because obviously he was doing the artwork in that period that Road Pig kind of obviously came out. Obviously, did his card art, but he also used him on the was it like the motorized backpacks or the accessory sets? One of those kind of things where Road Pig is actually in like a group shot. Anyway, there you go. Lovely stuff. And here's another cover for 17. And this is Jesus Marino and Adriano Lucas again, doing the kind of characters on the explosion background pieces. And it's another, he looks, I think he looks quite hilarious on this one. Like a bit even more, a little kind of more exaggerated in that sort of like podgy sort of way. But anyway, all sorts of body types in G.I. Joe, and I love it. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Anyway, there you go. That is the Road Pig kind of news. We've also got Roadblock getting his debut in 18, issue 18. So, yeah, how is he connected to the return of Flint and Lady J's Night Force? So that's even more fun. So Roadblock looks to be maybe joining forces with Night Force, maybe. I don't know. I love that cover by Tom Riley, by the way, where he's standing on Marvin's Melts truck. That's great. And then the orange stripes behind him and the flag. It's just so good. That is a really awesome cover. And then obviously on top of the truck with the machine gun, a la Rock style in in Retaliation. Absolutely love it. Ryan has asked, I wonder if, not asked, but as one has pondered, I wonder if we'll get the Donald split personality characterization. I would hope so. They do tend to really go to town with some of the characterizations, don't they? And you might, I think that's like it's a big one for Road Pig and Donald, of course. Scott Skeen says, "Can we get a roadblock food truck in classified, please?" Sure, I'll make one. What? That would be dope. I don't think they would do that, but it would be really cool to have somewhere to put all of his ridiculously large broilers and blasters, wouldn't it? Actually, that would be so dope if you could use it. You open the back up and it rolls out, and it's just a weapons kind of storage, just a massive weapon storage, and it's all the front. Like he doesn't really do sandwiches. He like melts. He does literal weapons carrying stealthily. Hella Geek says, "I do like they've made Cobra Commander an absolute ruthless badass instead of a shrieking coward." Oh, for sure. He is terrifying in the Energon universe, for sure. That Cobra miniseries where he's getting like tortured by the Dreadnoks and he ends up having the Joker sort of like blood face on his chrome mask. One of the freaking coolest payoffs ever when you see Nemesis like Immortal turn up and like, oh my god, what an amazing series that was, that Cobra Commander series. So good. They could use the Deadpool truck, says Andrew. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they would do that, but you could do that as a custom. But that would be great. A roadblock food tank, says Lawrence. That's even cooler. Anyway, you don't like retreat. No, we don't like that. That's true. And then going through with G.I. Joe 18 covers as well, we have this beautiful one again, Kendrick Kunker Lim, who did that really nice Zavana cover that I'm absolutely in love with. He also did this cracker of Chameleon as well, a character that I'm assuming will start showing up again soon because she's kind of dipped out a little bit. She was there was like a real promising little kind of storyline sort of happening. And again, it's all done on purpose, I know, and I'm sure that she'll pop up again pretty soon. But I was really intrigued with her as a character and where she was going and what they were doing with her. But the other thing that really excites me with is they've kind of really reinvented the Chameleon character. And it means that we could get really cool action figures in the future because it's a really cool design of a figure, of a character. And then, of course, again, another beauty from Ben Oliver of Roadblock, sort of with that kind of like armored neck piece, which is kind of interesting as well. But again, like really, really nice headshot from Ben Oliver there as well. And a couple more. We've got the cover D by Lucas Meyer and Adriano Lucas. Again, the kind of explosion background one. This is sometimes Jesus, isn't it? Jesus Marino, and sometimes Lucas Meyer. It kind of switches between them, but I think it's usually Adriano Lucas that's doing the coloring on this one. And then a really good one as well. And that's sort of like his new design. That's Roblox's sort of new design they've got kind of going on. And I kind of brushed past that a little bit, but I'm going to go back to that first Roadblock kind of design shot here on the left. I really like this. And does this insinuate that we could have yet another Roadblock in the future? Sort of like a tie to the Night Force, maybe? Because that's looks like what's going on here. Like this is a design in like a Night Force Roadblock. Love the sneakers as well. I've gone mad with sneakers recently. I should have put that in the thing today. I don't think I did. I mean, I've got that image, I believe, but I haven't got the close-up that I made a big deal about, calling them full force ones, which I think is genius personally. I may have sent that to the team as well, and they liked that a lot. But I mean, how cool would it be to get a pair of the Big Lob sneakers and these ones that I love, these ones that Roblox wearing? I know they're more sort of like your kind of more tactical kind of like almost like what do you call it? Not sneakers, they're almost like kind of walking boots or military sort of kind of vibes, aren't they? But I do like, they look really cool. I think he looks dope, and I'm hoping that I'd love to see a Roadblock like this in sort of like a Night Force release. That'd be so cool, homaging the the Skybound series. And that weapon he's got, someone mentioned what it was earlier today, and I didn't remember. I didn't kind of keep that information in my brain, unfortunately. But it's mental, isn't it? And I think it looks really cool. Anyway, there you go. And then, of course, the final cover E, from Michelle Rubini and Romulo Ferrado Jr. is an absolute banger as well because it's the Night Force crew. So you've got Flint, you got Beachhead, you got Lady J. Is Shooter on there somewhere? Can't tell because I'm interested to see what. Obviously, that's going to be next, isn't it? With Shooter, I can't wait for that. I'm just going to have a quick butchers at this close up just to see if Shooter's in there. I don't think she is, though, is she? No, she's not. But they look great. It's a really good cover, and I think Roadblock kind of works really well in this group as a in the Night Force. Loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it. There's more. Let's talk more comics. So this is obviously boiling a lot of urine for people again, but Matt Tracker, who's already been in the Energon universe, courtesy of what was it, the free comic book day one, the Energon special? Yeah, it was the Energon universe special, and yes, it is the carryover Matt Tracker from IDW, and kind of like the situation that a lot of people seem to have a lot of problems with being him being of different ethnicity, which again I could not give two-thirds of a fart about. Um, it's obviously one of those things that people just have a lot of feelings about, and I think you're probably better off, you know, letting go of those feelings sometimes. In any case, do what you must, but we're going to be keeping it classy on here, okay? But anyway, Matt Tracker, he's already shown up in the Energon Universe special, which was really cool and a really good moment when Clutch was sort of like seeking his guidance with the whole Hound thing, which you can see on the right hand side of your screen at the moment. And Hound is clashing there with Duke. There's a bit of an anger thing going on there, a bit of an argument. Interesting to see what happens in issue 19 there. But that is where Matt Tracker will be coming back. He'll be showing up again after his introduction into the Energon universe. And of course, Miles Mayhem now knocking about means that we're getting a little bit, whoa, it's getting a little bit interesting as Mask and Venom start to grow in this universe. What I really like, though, is the fact that Skybound have incorporated Mask into the comics, and it just means that going forward we're going to get more Mask and Venom and what have you, and hopefully their own comic, because that would be amazing. So they said in the post, the enigmatic Matt Tracker returns in February's G.I. Joe 19 to collect on the favor owed by Clutch and Hound. But how does Duke react after the events of Dreadnok War? Stay tuned for more Energon Universe, etc., etc., etc. Really excited for this one. And like I said, I'm a huge Mask fan, and I can't wait to see what we've got going on with this. Now we're moving on though into Void Rivals, because we've got issue 24, which features the amazing Pythona on the cover by Darnie and Brad Simpson. That is going to be on sale November 5th, of course, and that is cover D. So there you go. And these, like with Void Rivals, phenomenal comic, by the way. If you're not reading it, you really are into the Energon universe, it's phenomenal. And Pythona and Cobra La and all that stuff are in there quite consistently, so it's awesome. And yeah, and I'm interested to see what happens in issue 24. But Pythona cover, I might have to get that one. It's always the way. I need Pythona covers. Now, carrying on with Pythona, they also revealed Void Rivals 26, a bunch of covers. We've got the Lorenzo De Felici cover A, which is the Sharktacons one, which is pretty dope. Again, Pythona again looks like she's in chains of some description here and in some problems, because we're now into the Quintesson War with Void Rivals, which is again very cool. Quintessons, if you're not familiar, are a sort of race of weird spinny head creature things that are like, if you've watched the movie, you've seen them spin around and say things like guilty, because they don't tend to give people the benefit of the doubt. It's a pretty rough legal system there on Quintessa. But obviously Cobra La are kind of entwined in this sort of battle with everyone going on, and obviously Python, another cover there that I might have to get my hands on. for issue 26. Now, the couple others here, like I said, we don't have to go into because it's not really kind of G.I. Joe related on the covers on these, but just to kind of, continue showing all the covers for each one. We've got Ben Oliver's cover C, again, a close up of the face. And I believe that is, I forget his name now. I've forgotten their names on the spot. What are their names, guys? I've completely forgotten their names, and you'll have to let me know. There's a box set with Jetfire and everything, and I had it then. I had it. Anyway, someone will let me know in the comments. It's not Timmy. It's not that. Yeah, it doesn't say in the blurb either. In any case, very cool. And cover D, Larix Lee, with the cover D there as well. Same character, but the name escapes me. And then this is a beauty as well, cover E by Tuma Hill. Anyway, that is the reveals and everything from Skybound's panel and all the covers related to all the Void Rivals and Transformers, and well, not all the Transformers ones because we didn't cover all the Transformers ones because there wasn't a lot of G.I. Joe related stuff in it. But we did obviously talk about Transformers 25, Miles Mayhem's kind of introduction into that, and all of the G.I. Joe stuff from Skybound's panel today. Right then, next up, we are switching out of the comics news, and we are changing tack, and we are going into classified. But we will have a message from our sponsor first. There you go. Deluxe Treasury editions of the Battle Action Force. Go get them at Skeletron.com in the US and TotalToyBooks.com in the UK and Europe. They're beautiful. Right then, New York Comic Con Day 3 recap. This is technically Day 2 recap, isn't it? Because all of these promo images dropped the moment I turned the live off yesterday, which drove me absolutely bonkers barmy, by the way, because it was so literally as soon as I pressed stop, that like as soon as I did that, it's like boom, pictures everywhere. I'm like, are you serious? And then I spent about an hour blooming posting them all because it was like, I've got to do these separately because it'll be too much and I have to do it on multiple platforms. Woe is me. I can hear you all scream. Yeah, you don't have to feel sorry for me. In any case, we got some lovely promo images and obviously boxed images of Brent, the hit and run Hart. See what I did there? Brent Scott, of course, David Brent, Michael Scott, hit and run. That is a coincidence, by the way, or the writers of The Office UK and US both had, inspiration from, from G.I. Joe, because hit and run came first, and Brent Scott, the name, came first as well. We called him Brian Scott, by the way, in the UK. Genuinely, that was on his file card in the UK because it was on his. Okay, let me get this straight. I think it was on his Tiger Force card as well, but his regular hit and run release, they changed his name to Brian because Brent felt like a little bit too, what was it, American. And also, this is quite funny. He's from Basildon, Essex, I believe, which is even funnier if you're from the UK. Josh B says, heads up for people in the US. I got your item has left the building from Hasbro Pulse for Pythona today. So did I, Josh. Both Pythonas are on their way. I had to get one for someone else as well. And what was it? Divers, the Steel Core Sentry and Defense Post. And and this came as well today. The old MMS. It's getting ridiculous at the moment, to be fair. But whatever. Anyway, hit and run, great pictures, and of course we get the back of the box shot and we get to see another environment. This one is a building. It looks to be in the same sort of kind of place that we've seen, maybe like the top of this building, maybe Japan, maybe it's just a regular street building, like maybe the Night Force sort of related area. Maybe it's a new environment to mimic what they've been doing with the promo images. Either way, I'd love to know who's doing these so I could get all the bloody homage drops that they're sneaking in there. Like, is this like, is this like an homage of Hit and Run escaping his orphanage as a child over and over again because his parents were killed in a car crash or something? It's a really dark backstory, by the way. And but an amazing file card. Like, it's really crazy what some characters were given in terms of media presence, and then what we had to work with the rest of them. And thankfully, Larry was writing a lot of the cards. Not just Larry, it was a lot of people writing the cards eventually over time, but they kind of took that baton, didn't they, from Larry, and sort of kind of try to instill as much personality and interest as possible in every single one. Got my Horse Striker a couple of days back, actually, Andrew. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? They're coming in at the moment, like thick and fast. Jack says, I was able to be at NYCC for a few hours today and picked up a Pythona in person. It was fun. Great booth display. Awesome, Jack. That's great. Also, picked up a Pythona in person was really hard to say. So picked up a penguin. And again, on the back of the on this particular artwork, you can see obviously they're highlighting his face, the old camo paint, and the grappling hook. I love the fact that he goes to the he is green skinned, but I love the fact he goes to the extent of painting his skin all green first and on the old hands. That's awesome. I picture him watching 66 Batman and Robin scaling the same wall, says Blitz. Yeah, it has that vibe as well, doesn't it? But very good. This is a very cool render, by the way. I do like this, showing Hit and Run in like a really classic kind of way. Picked a peck of pickled pythonas, says Scott. Brilliant. And then, of course, the promo shots as well. So we've got the front wear, back wear. We've got the bag on show there. We've got the machete locked in as well. I love that they really just they did everything that we wanted them to do with this bag. I love it. It's so good. You can see the grapple poking out the bag as well there, which is really cool. This figure is phenomenal. Like, I'm so happy with him. So happy with Hit and Run. I know Justin Bell is. Shout out to Justin Bell, who loves Hit and Run. And then, of course, we've got those gorgeous promo images. Now, the one on the right, very similar to the back of the box. So I guess that was something, Matt and Corey were definitely trying to, sort of get that sort of vibe going on that kind of rappel one. You can see the helmet is removable fully, and you can see the head sculpt there as he's shooting a mole rat in the face with a pistol, and got a knife out. That ain't a knife. It's a knife. It's a freaking knife. And he's going to probably hoik the other mole rat and the whatever with it as well. And he's dropping in on some mole rats there too, which is dangerous. But, be careful, Hit and Run. And here's that bag again, a nice kind of close up of like all the details on it, and open as well, which is really dope. So you can put lots of cool stuff in there. And just loads of amazing shots. These are Shooting the Galaxy again. Shout out to Matt and Corey. They do phenomenal work. Did anyone catch the video on the panel stream? They struggled to play because the audio wasn't working initially, of Corey walking through in Walmart and talking about the Walmart displays with the diodes and everything. Kind of funny and interesting. But yeah, I don't think they've posted. Have they posted that anywhere yet? I'm surprised they haven't. No word yet if the bag has an actual grapple function, right? What you mean, like the kind of roll up sort of like rope scenario inside? I believe it does. I believe it does. The little handle thing does the same sort of thing where it rolls the rope up inside. So I believe it does have a function. Yeah, like the original toy, Bias. Yeah, I believe it does. That's what Lenny mentioned at some point during some phase of whatever it was, that little handle does the same situation, kind of does a similar thing, basically. In terms of the detail of that, though, don't think this is something I can definitely maybe get a little bit more detail and information when I do an interview with them, hopefully after NYCC. We'll have to see. We'll have to NYCC, won't we? It might be one of those things where I just end up waiting until like November to do an interview and just kind of like hit them with a ton of different stuff. Anyway, Here is again more beautiful shots of hit and run, and of course in that basketball court. I love that they painted out a basketball court as well. I love they went to that level to do that. Amazing. And of course, you've got the basketball net. The court is not part of the starting lineup, is it? Or have I like am I giving them too much credit there? Is that actual court piece available for starting lineup? I don't remember. I remember the basketball net being available and the ball, but just not the floor piece, as it were. Oh, you'll have to let me know in the comments because I don't remember there being a floor piece. Either way, I love that either they've used it great or they've made it even better. Um, and then of course we have Mole Rat Stage 2, to be very clear on that one. It was quite funny in the panel. Lenny said to everyone, "And who wants to see Stage 3?" And Emily had to sort of say, "He doesn't mean now, he means in the future," because everyone thought like expecting to see like, "Oh, what have they got to show for Stage 3?" No, it was quite funny though. Um, uh, on the video when they get to Hiss, Lenny said Quinn. Is this a hint? Yeah, just talking about snow characters. But again, I would probably I would definitely when they say character names, for sure they're going to be on their mind in some way, shape, or form. Does that mean now, near future, 2, 3 years from now? It could be in any of those things. The way that they do these develop, like the way these things get developed, and like they put out like this is what we're going to do for this, and this is what we're going to do for that. They're working like about a year and a half in advance, sometimes longer in some cases because the development like takes longer, or they have an idea and it never really kind of comes to fruition, or they have one that keeps getting pushed to like later and later and later. So there's all these different things. I would just say, aren't all of these goddamn names going to be on the table? Like everything's there, it's all going to be done at some point. And I think it's one of those things of, is it a hint? Yes and no. Like, yes, it probably is on their mind. Like, for example, I'll bring up a couple of examples. Snake Eyes version 4, when Lenny had it just knocking about. But before that, there was one Python Copperhead, Python Patrol Copperhead. He had that figure on his desk during an interview that I did with him, or maybe it was a round table. But he was playing with he was just talking about like design and all that kind of stuff. And he just said, well, look at this figure. And he grabbed on his desk Python Patrol Copperhead. And I said at the time, designers don't usually have those figures like that there just for the sake of it. Like, unless it's his favorite figure and it's like, they have it there because they're referencing it. And I knew as soon as he picked that up and showed it on camera as like an example of, the deco and this, that, and the other, I knew at that moment, I'm like, well, we're getting Python Copperhead. I know we are. It's going to happen. And it happened like so shortly afterwards. There are times when that's going to be the case because it's on his mind, or there's a different sort of clue there, if you know what I mean. Clue. Um, a raging clue. But in other cases, it could just be that they've got a list of names, and or they see the feedback constantly, and Quinn keeps coming up. It's on the mind. It's on the forefront. But for the most part, yeah, like it's one of those things where you don't really know until very shortly after either it comes out or the next year you see it and you're like, oh, and you go back to that point and you go, look, it was there looking us in the face the whole time. And sometimes that maybe he's just trying to get a reaction. Maybe it's like, if I mention this name, let's see what the fandom react to it. And then maybe that, give us a better idea of what to do next, sort of thing. That option as well, I think, is definitely a possibility. Fext Hobby has a 112 basketball half court, says New York Night 1974. Cool. I might have to get that. Anyway, yeah, cool. Sorry, I'm missing a lot of comments. I don't mean to. I would like to get an April release each year for fun characters like Fumbles or the Vindo Viper, says Cliff Doc Christiansen. Hello, Cliff. That's awesome. I'm not sure if you've commented in the past before. Apologies if you have, and I've just forgotten. But nice to have you in the chat. Yeah, April release each year would be kind of cool, actually. I think what's happening this year, or 2026, I should say, is they're switching to 5-figure waves, aren't they? So obviously we've got this 5-figure wave dropping for pre-order in 2 days, on the 14th. 3 days on the 14th. Can't count now, can I? And so that's a 5-figure wave. And then it looks like the next batch is also locked into a 5-figure wave, and the third batch is locked into a 5-figure wave. And then there's randomly 3 listings later as well that I'm imagining more will be added, or maybe they're switching back to 3 figures at that point. I don't know, but yeah, I think like maybe not necessarily an April release, but they're going to have a lot of figures in each different wave now. But yeah, it was kind of fun to have that this year, wasn't it? Although that was probably more down to them being forced, their hand being forced due to issues, extenuating circumstances, shall we say. Anyway, yeah, Mole Rat Stage 2. One of my favorite figures in the classified line, the Mole Rat version 1. I really dig it. It obviously is a new element into the line with a sort of like 1 foot in the G.I. Joe history. Of course, I'm referring to things like Volcano Viper, Hazard Viper, those sort of like, Toxo Viper to a degree. Now these are excuse me, these are more related to sort of Dark Energon and Transformers, but still with that same sort of feeling, like zombies and what have you. I was really, really genuinely hoping that they would do Zombie Vipers, like the full-on Compound Z sort of situation, because that would be kind of fun. I'd love a classified version of the Zombie Viper. That was a great figure in the 4-inch line, like that 4-inch modern line. That was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, but there you go. So anyway, really like the Mole Rat, and I like what they've done with this one. I think in person it looks even better. I say in person, but in the actual booth shots and in the promo images, it looks so much better than the render was giving it credit for. But again, love the deco. Cobra Bug has been brought up a few times, and it does share that color scheme, that sort of neon green and the kind of more muted kind of like tealy green, which is really cool. Yeah, love it. And again, the extra head kind of showing the next stage is kind of hardcore, isn't it? Um, my only gripe here is they changed clothes, says Blitz. Well, I tend to see it as you've got all these different mole rats, right? And they all have different gear for different environments, whatever. These guys may be like more urban, and then the other ones were kind of more your cave dwellers, sort of like digging the caves. Whereas these guys are more like, they're in the sewers or whatever, and different uniforms because Cobra like that. And the dark energon that these guys are getting is more potent than the dark energon that the guys are finding in the caves. So in my kind of little narrative, that's why you've got different clothing, just a different uniform for a different segment of the forces in a different area. And also it's toys. Sometimes in these cases it's a repaint, in it. You know what I mean? Like, who's painting their Bobcat black going on Night Force missions? Spearhead, obviously, painting Max black. But yeah, that wouldn't, it's kind of ridiculous things like that. But I want, whenever they do Spearhead and Max, if they do a Night Force version, I want them to repaint Max, please and thank you. I don't care about realism. I want him to be black as well. And I wonder if they would do that thing that they did with Neol and Freedom, where they did a sort of like repainted bird scenario for Spirit and made them a new character. I like that. I think it's kind of cool that he now has 2 creatures, beautiful creatures that can, help him out. How much money is Hoodie Coco eating on a zillion different uniforms? I know. As much as he wants. I mean, they've never really been good with cash, have they? Cobra. I want a second Bobcat for Nightfall Spearhead, says Scott. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Anyway, moving on with the promo images. They really crank up the black light on these shots, and it really is cool. The Dark Energon is really, really amazing. And again, slightly different to it's a different glow in the dark color, right? I don't think it's the same color. I might be wrong. It might be the same color. I'm gonna have to look at some of the old images of the old mole rat. And actually, let's do that. Let's go to old mole rat images. Classified or classophoed because for some reason my phone hates me. Mole rat. Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah, it's a different base color, but is it the same glow in the dark color? That's my questionarium here. I need more images, please. Where are all the promo images? There was definitely a glow in the dark promo image for that. Definitely. There it is. Yeah, it's like almost like the glow in the dark for the mole rat version 1 definitely has a different color, sort of a different color pop, and it has that sort of like weird, yeah, it has that sort of weird green like stuff in there too. Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, that said, I like this, and I like the fact that there's different potencies of energon in different places. It's all very, very interesting and fun and cool. And also, I know obviously the live performance is going to be soon for at the Gramercy. So not that it really matters if you're watching this. You're probably not at the you're probably not at the con or at the show. But for those who are, I hope you have a wonderful time, and I hope it's amazing. And I hope you got an iCobra New York t-shirt for being one of the first people in. Beautiful shots as well for the mole rat, and again the kind of zombie aspect cranked up to the next levels here, dragging his foot along, really messed up. I mean, that next level head is kind of dark in it. It's like really, well, it's the opposite of dark. It's actually quite bright, but it's really gnarly. So good. It's glow in the dark liquid identity. What I mean is they can't, so when they take the pictures, the best way to do it for them taking pictures is to use a black light. If they just turn the lights off, it's really difficult to capture that kind of glow in the dark essence on cameras. So they use the black light to kind of sort of like not fake, but like, well, I guess it is, to kind of like sort of like stage that sort of effect, shall we say. Liquid says, I'm not into the zombie aspect, but might get 1 or 2 for Python Patrol. They do it. They would go nicely with the Python Patrol aesthetic, definitely. And then here's one more shot of again that black light in use, really kind of pumping those colors, and another shot sort of in the regular light as well. Enhance. Lovely stuff. Andrew says, I love Diagnostic 80 t-shirt. Kitty said, yeah, that needs to happen. Snowcat was my number 2 dream project personally, says Blitz. Yeah. I bet you're bloody happy that we got one, because I am. Anyway, that's the mole rat. Let's get into a Night Viper. So this one again, very cool figure. Love what they've done with this one. And we get great shots of the packaging, including the helmet removed. So it's a little band, like a balaclava style head underneath, and the helmet has that sort of like mouthpiece and the articulated visor and the removable lens as well. It is an absolute bevy of features, this one. On the back, we have the roof element, probably in Japan again, that we've seen a number of times with a number of the different figures. And yeah, kind of like no other homage that I can really see on there, other than being in that location that we've seen on quite a few of the figures, over the years. Paul says, right, to capture glow in the dark in a photo is a nightmare. It has to be a pitch black room, and there's not enough light to get anything else. If you crank up the ISO, you lose the glowing parts. Thank you, Paul. Love the gloss on the armor too. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Real nice gloss on the Night Viper for sure. Yeah, and again, lovely little render on the back of the box, and they highlight again the kind of balaclava head underneath and the backpack, which is cool. And then we've got obviously these wonderful shots, frontwear, backwear of the figure. We've got the bullets on the old shoulders, on the old bicep, which is pretty cool. I like that. Cool little detail. The backpack looks really dope, actually, doesn't it? I really like that. A lot of detail on it, a lot of cool elements to it. It wouldn't be amiss if they'd have put a few more like deco touches on it. Maybe some tampos on some of the like little like dials and levels would have been kind of cool, but Maybe they were just kind of going, hey, we can get away with the black backpack here and maybe save on some of the deco ops, which is totally understandable. But yeah, I would like to see that maybe on this backpack. But really cool nonetheless. Really, really cool. And then we've got the beautiful shots. I love this one where Hit and Run is coming around the corner. This reminds me of a girl that I once knew. No, this reminds me of, I'm not doing it again, of a Punisher cover that I really loved as a kid. I remember getting that comic when I had pneumonia. I was in hospital. I was like 7 years old. I had pneumonia, and my mom brought me in a bunch of comics from the store around the corner. And like came into the she was staying. She basically slept on the floor in the hospital. It was crazy. And I remember she brought me in a bunch of comics. Had Spider-Man comics in there. There was the Punisher was in there. Thundercats, I want to say. And I remember just being like absolutely enamored with this Punisher comic. It was probably a little bit too. It probably wasn't for me as a child of 7 years old, but it was the cover where he is up against the wall like that, and like I want to say the Hell's Angels kind of guys are coming up the subway sort of like steps. But it was an absolute beauty, and yeah, I loved that cover. But kind of reminds me of that. Reminds me a little bit of the Eel cover, Eels from Action Force Weekly issue 2, which has Snake Eyes and Scarlet kind of like coming up the space, but it's on the other. It's kind of mirror imaged, and the eel is up against the wall. Kind of vibes like that. So I really like that picture, and of course him reloading as well around the corner. Maybe unawares or maybe aware that Hit and Run's coming, but Hit and Run isn't aware. But by the time they kind of get like see each other, it'll probably be into a position like they'll probably just be in like a struggle because I don't think he's going to be able to reload in time. But really cool. I love the narrative on these. And then of course you've got the Night Viper with the knives out, in a bit of a bother, trying to deal with cleaning up the mess of these mole rats. Now, the narrative goes, by the sounds of things, that Cobra Commander doesn't want, like the outbreak of this Energon situation. They didn't want that. They didn't want the mole rats to catch, like Transformer diseases, Cybertronian diseases. So they're trying to clear up their own mess, and they've sent Night Viper in there, a Night Viper in there to deal with it. Not Night Vipers, a Night Viper in there to deal with it. And obviously Hit and Run, Lifeline, and Big Lob are caught in the middle of this, and that's what the narrative is, and it's fun. I like it that they're all kind of like, you can all work together basically. The Raphael Micro Series #1, Raph on one side of the corner, Casey on the other. Yes, Scott, indeed. Anyway, there you go. Love it. And then we've got another couple of shots here. The visor's back on, and he's creeping through the street. He's going to take out some mole rats. And then that one on the right is great. Kind of like the helmet off, holding it, kind of getting ready, or maybe he's just finished, or maybe he's calling in the situation back home. But very awesome. Love it. Very nice indeed. And then these two are kind of eerie, kind of like smoky shot. Love that. Like kind of like that, like, yeah, that misty evening sort of shot. Very mysterious. I love it. But him obviously on his knee with the rifle up, and the backpack down, sort of as like, he's put that down there, sort of like maybe that's a communication device. I don't know, as well. Maybe he's communicating back home. And that one on the right is great, where he's got the rifle on his shoulder as well, like all geared up, pistol out, kind of creeping through the streets. Dope. Anyway, brilliant. Then we move on to Big Lob. Have I nearly? Oh yeah, Big Lob and Lifeline we got left, haven't we? So Big Lob. This is really interesting. This one, right? So the other day I messaged the group going, "What friggin' vehicle is Big Lob hossing over on this?" I was literally trawling through images trying to find it. I was like, is it the Avalanche? Is it the Triple T? Is it a friggin' like weapons transport? Sort of. So basically, this is the little mini vehicle that came with the HasLab Sky Striker. And I know there'll be loads of people in the comments that were like, I knew straight away. It's been on other card backs, and it has. I just completely did not know what the hell we were looking at. But yeah, it's the tow vehicle basically, isn't it? That has all of like the gear, the missiles and racks and stuff on it and all that kind of jazz. So effectively, yeah, it's like the little vehicle that comes with the HasLab Sky Striker. And of course, yes, the GI Joe HQ in the background draws. Of course, I mean, it's very difficult to miss that in it, the giant gun doorway. But yeah, that's awesome. And again, we've seen the HQ on a lot of figures. We've seen it on General Hawk's card back. We've seen it on multiple, and I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head. But now, obviously, Big Lob is part of that. And again, the HQ was very synonymous with the cartoon, so it's good that we've got Big Lob in that sort of environment. I probably would have I would have gone with the whole uh, assault course. That's what I would have done on the back of this. Kitty said, on the back of the box. I would have done it like the checkered floor, the kind of like the swing, sort of like the rope racks, the kind of the barbed wire, the fire, all that kind of stuff. That's what I would have done. I'd have done it sort of like that, and maybe had Tunnel Rat and Beachhead in there too. But this is cool. It's fun and it's awesome. But I definitely would have gone with that sort of as the sort of homage at the back, because I just think there's an opportunity there that you're not going to get ever again. We're not getting Big Lob in a different version that makes sense on that Salt course. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit of a shame. I know we have Big Lob. We've seen him do it on the Assault course. Kitty said it actually exists on the movie and everything. So it's not like we've missed out. I just feel like this was an opportunity to like really push that homage a little bit. Maybe they felt it was too obvious, and that's also fine. Maybe they felt like this was more dynamic, more exciting, tied into a previous sort of like HasLab. Gets people talking as well, because it's like, oh, are we going to get a classified HQ? Are we going to get a classified flag? Are we going to get a classified Sky Striker? That happens as well. So yeah. But anyway, I like it. It's awesome, but I really would have been enamored to the moon and back if they'd have done the assault course. And they highlight obviously his shoes, which I absolutely adore, and the basketball hand, which is fun as I'm so glad they've done the basketball hand. It's so good. The figure is so tall, he almost creeps out of the frame as well. So yeah, really cool figure. I'm so interested to see, and obviously we've seen him in the display at the booth. I haven't seen it kind of up close and personal. I would love to see like the difference in height between him and some of the others, like properly with my own eyes in that space. Jamie Lynn says, so Chris, do you display Big Lob with the Marauders or what? I'll probably start a new display now. The problem is I've got like a ninja setup, and I want Jinx to be in that. So if we get another Jinx, maybe she can go in that ninja setup, and or vice versa. If we get like a retro Jinx, that would be kind of cool, because then I would just have her, Chuckles. Well, even Chuckles needs a movie shirt. He needs a white shirt. So a redo of Chuckles a movie deco of Chuckles wouldn't go amiss. A retro version of Jinx, a retro version of Falcon version 1, and everyone else is kind of pretty much perfect, aren't they? I say Big Lob, Law and Order, Beachhead, retro Beachhead. That's it, isn't it? Yeah, and Tunnel Rat. Like the rest of them are perfect. So like that's what I want that particular group to be. Like that's how I would display them. I display them as the Rawhides with Beachhead. Now but again, like a lot of things have to happen for that to be a perfect, display. And get away with what we have for sure, but it's just not the same. I want a retro Jinx that is way more vintage, and I want a Chuckles with a white shirt, and I want a Falcon. I mean, holy damn, we want Falcon, don't we? Anyway, the shots here are perfect. The promo images, we've got the dunking a head, a zombified dark energon zombified head into the basket. He's on fire. And then, of course, we've got him firing his mini grenade launcher, which has a sheath on the back of the bandolier with which to hold it, holster. I always do that. I always do that. And then, of course, you can see it here, in the actual holster, and his basketball hand, the big old knife, the machete's in his knife sheath on the right hand, on his right thigh, and then he's got the pistol in the other holster. The bandolier obviously comes off with the grenades on it, and a little grenade, an individual grenade he comes with, can go on the back of his belt. So that loop, that like a little, obviously the pin slots into a little loop on his belt, which is really cool. I love the jersey as well, the GI Joe logo. It's actually a full GI Joe logo with stripes and everything, and then the basketball on the other side, which you can't see in these shots at the moment. And the number, the fact that it goes that yellow to like blue phase, is so sexy. Anyway, brilliant figure. And then we've got the on the knee kind of like grenade launcher shot, and the ready to post up, right? Literally just starting a one-on-one with someone there. That about to like check ball basically at the top of the key. Let's go one-on-one. I'd get my ass handed to me, even though I am ex-semi-pro. I've got some skills. I think Big Lob would probably edge it. Kitty said. It would have been funny, wouldn't it? Right? You just mentioned that New York night about Big Lob's basketball should have a rope fuse. That would be hilarious, by the way. But you know, we get like, I'm hoping for Captain Gridiron at some point, and he has American football grenades. So, like, how funny would it have been if it had been like Big Lob had basketball bombs? Would have been hilarious. Scott says, still haven't gotten a general release Serpentor. That'll need to happen too. Yeah, probably. Like, it's weird, isn't it? There's some of them just we just haven't seen again, and probably for good reason. I mean, Serpentor is very unique. What can you do with him other than like some sort of Python patrol, or maybe like a Deke Deco sort of version? But like, you know, would people buy it? That's another thing. I mean, obviously the completist would, I would, but like, would it be like worth doing? That's the other thing. Or would you do like a Serpentor just on his own on a card, no air chariot, because it's sort of not necessary? Maybe a retro Deke color Serpentor would be cool. Maybe that would be dope. I'd be up for that actually. Now, I want to talk about these shots. First of all, those sneakers are too good. They don't have any right to be this rad, guys. Big Lob sneakers are one of the highlights of this entire wave for me. I want these in reality. I've even had a few people. Well, I've had people reach out to me to say they could do these custom wise, and I'm genuinely contemplating it, because hot damn, obviously I have to be a little bit careful with, you know, classified being the only thing I collect now, and even that's ridiculous. But I mean, oh my god, to have these sneakers would be a dream. Look at them. Full Force Ones, I'm calling them. Okay, not Air Gordons, that's quite good blitz. I'm calling them Full Force Ones. All right, I coined that term. I got it up on socials immediately as I could, because as soon as I thought of it, I'm like, oh my god, how have I not said this yet? Full Force Ones. What else did I call them? GI Joe Dumas. Bit of a 80s 90s reference for you basketball heads there. Any Detroit Pistons fans in the house? What else did I call them? Cobra La 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 lace ups, which was weak, I know, but I was trying to do groups of threes so I could go, I'll stop now, and then do. Oh no, I did dunk low lights as well, didn't I? Dunk lows, dunk low lights. There you go. Anyway, amazing. Air Joes, yeah, that kind of works, but they've got to be called Full Force Ones. Come on. If you have the coin to spend, just do it. If I do bias, I will. But at the moment, you know what I mean. It's just one of those, you know, you've got to be careful. Highly articulated. I don't typically wear high tops, but I would be willing to make an exception for these. I've got a bunch of high tops. I got those Nerf Reebok Pump crossovers that came out ages ago. They're absolutely stunning. I love them. The kind of bright orange ones with all the like the Nickelodeon kind of deco and stuff on them. They are so friggin' good. I also got the Alien ones from way like years back, like 2021, maybe 2020, maybe 2021. But the Alien high top ones, they're really good as well. That came out for Alien Day. The bug stompers, they're so dope. Kind of, similar vibe to these, just these are darker. But I love that logo. The star and stripes just is a perfect logo for sneakers, and I love it. And I love even the little green Y detail on the back of the sneaker as well. That's sort of like that extra detail is really nice. That extra color pop as well. And of course, like the tan so I mean, these are just absolutely perfect. Like I need these yesterday, really, don't I? Anyway, the Destro variants with Velcro, says Droz. Yes. I remember those Nike crossovers they did ages ago, where you had Cobra Commander, Destro, and was it Storm Shadow? Was the other one? Amazing sneakers though. But we've had so many good sneaker crossovers. I've managed to get in on most. I'm looking at most of them actually. Got the greats down there. They were were they the most recent ones? The Reebok kind of ones that were all camouflage with the orange laces. They're really nice. The Asics Storm Shadows and Snake Eyes I've been wearing recently. Love those. Danny, yes, very, very Converse for sure, Danny, 100%. A buyer says, these days I just wear Clark's Wallabies. There you are, just giving it away, your age. Buyer says, I was heavy into sneakers when I was younger, but at some point it's hard justifying having $1,500 sneakers in a box that you'll never wear. Oh, for sure. For sure. You could customize Air Force Ones, then you're not offending anyone. Exactly, Andre. Anyway, like these are so much fun, and I think just Full Force Ones work so well in so many different capacities. So in any case, and that image of him with the grenade, like smothered by all of the mole rats, is really like harrowing. Like he's going to be like, okay, looks like this is it, and he's going to pull the pin and just end it all, sort of thing. But I don't think that's actually happening. I think he's just kind of just he's gonna sneak out the bottom, classic trope style. He's gonna get smothered by them all, and then he's just gonna like clamber out, and they're all gonna be like thinking they've still got him, like in all the classic cartoons. Anyway, on to Lifeline. Lifeline, and another beauty for me on this one, and lots of really good things to kind of point out and talk about with this one. Like they mentioned again that the pistol holster is removable. The whole holster is, so you've got the pistol and the holster if you want it or not. Perfect, covers both bases. I'd rather have something and not need it than need something and not have it, as they say. And in this case, you're going to have people that want him to have a pistol, just like his original figure, like me, and you're going to have people that don't want to have the pistol because he was, shown to be a pacifist in both the cartoon and in special missions, where he's really kind of talks about it a lot, but it's not in his file card bio, and the figure comes with a pistol. So it was a bit of a weird, confusing sort of thing going on. I think that was really the kind of cartoon playing into that with the comic. But in any case, there you go. That bit's out of the way, sorted. On the back of Lifeline's card, he looks to be on the flag or on the airfield for the HQ. What do you guys think? Do you think airfield for the HQ? It looks a little bit more airfield for the HQ than it does a nice, like, slick runway on a flag, doesn't it? So that is, but then again, you look at I don't know. No, it's a building. That's the HQ, isn't it? With the explosion kind of going on the background, and again that that little vehicle in the background as well, to kind of maybe tie him and Big Lob into the same narrative. Yeah, reverse of Big Lob, says Scott. Yeah, absolutely. HQ HasLab confirmed, says Highly Articulated. No one. The question says definitely the flag. Yeah, but it's not it's okay. So it's a flag vehicle, yes, but it's for the Sky Strikers effectively. So it can be on any airfield. Plus, you look at the ground, that it's not a flag ground, and like that in the background is not the flag building. It is an HQ because it kind of tapers and keeps going, whereas the building segment or the kind of like tower segment on the flag is just like a big block straight up, isn't it? Basically. So yeah, I genuinely do think that there's a few things hinting as to what this is, and Big Lob being in the same in like the same wave is probably tying it into that. But again, it's sort of your imagination really at this stage. I mean, it could be either, but I would probably lean towards on this one a standard airfield outside the HQ, the actual on the ground HQ. Because that's the same vehicle that Big Lob is jumping over, and clearly he's on the HQ. He's in front of the HQ on his card art. Anyway, it highlights obviously his very funnily mundane and basic head sculpt and terrible haircut. He looks like one of the Beastie Boys, doesn't he? In that shot. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just very of its time Beastie Boys haircut going on there. And then of course you've got the obviously the highlight of the highlighting the briefcase opening, the medical case, which is kind of cool. And we do have the medic logo on it, but we don't have rescue written on it, which I was surprised at, actually, because obviously we do on the original figure, and it would have been kind of nice to have that, that rescue on there as well as his thigh. Maybe it was they didn't want it to be overkill, classified overkill confirmed. It does look like one of the Stooges, Andrew, big time. Anyway, here's again the figure in general, though. Very happy with low light. I think low light with Lifeline. Very happy with low light as well. Very happy with Lifeline. Like I said, having the pistol removable and the holster is a really good addition for those that don't want it. I think all his gear is really top notch. The secondary is really cool. On the kind of belt going into the thigh straps, which in that pose pushes it up a little bit, but again, that's probably, you could probably move it around a little bit for sure. No Sleep Till Springfield is genius, Scott. Yes. Couchboy was an intern for the Beastie Boys. I'm so jealous. That's amazing. Big Beastie Boys fan over here. So yeah, very jealous of that. Love the backpack deco. The fact that they've given him like the grey and the white really pops. Really pops. Bayer says, wonder if it'll be possible to finagle a water slide rescue on there in the classic font for the leg, that is. Well, so almost certainly for the briefcase, because there's that little strip at the bottom, which you could probably put a little rescue on there. But that I'm not sure if it's completely perfectly flat. It might be textured. We don't know yet. Well, I don't know. Looking at these images, but on the leg, I'm not sure. There's a lot of texture on that thigh, isn't there? But I don't know. It might be okay. It looks like relatively smooth, even without the kind of material roll up kind of folds and everything. And then of course we have the promo images. Phenomenal. Again, I use that word a lot, but for the most part, it's there. It's the right word for it. Now Lifeline is running from the Dark Energon infused mole rats on the basketball court, or he is pulling his piece out because he's a long distance shooter. Maybe he's like the Steph Curry of the team. And that's why what's happening here. He's kind of getting the distance. He's going to take him out from a distance. Terrible. And then, of course, that shot there on the right, very, very cool of him. Again, keeping it Beastie Boys at the moment with that haircut. Yeah, kind of with the medical gear out, ready to hand out some medic stuff. And here he is helping hit and run on the court. Now I did see that the little flashlight accessory that he comes with, it does go in the back of the, can you see that on the right hand side? He's got that kind of like secondary on the thigh, the pouches. There's a little loop on the back of that he slots the old flashlight into. And yeah, so that's really cool. I'm glad that's kind of been cleared up in some of these images. Not that one, but you can see the loop a little clearer there. Was it on that one? No, you can see the loop there, but it's not. They didn't put it in there, which is funny to me. What a great opportunity to show that, and they just didn't put it in there. But that's the little loop on the back of the secondary. And there he is with about to, like, I don't know, suck on the oxygen himself, cut the oxygen with the knife. The little thing with I don't know. I don't know what is on his mind here. What's he doing? I don't know. This is like seeing Lifeline all geared up is my favorite. With all the the kind of like the glasses and the helmet on and all the gear on. I think he looks amazing, and I'm very excited to get him. I really am. That's awesome, Chris. Combine low light and lifeline, you get low life or life light. And there he is giving Big Lob some oxygen because obviously he's been pushing it a little too hard, hasn't he? Basically, been pushing it a little too hard on the court, and now he's all gassed out. Brilliant stuff. And the little IV bag on the arm as well, so you can see how that's used. It's really cool. Comes with some cool stuff. I do wish they'd kitted him out even more and made him deluxe, given him a one of those gurneys, like the beds with the wheels and the kind of flexible little legs with little wheels. That would have been so amazing. As it is, we have to go back to the X-Files to help us out with our kind of 6-inch scale gurneys. In any case, brilliant stuff. Lovely, lovely stuff. Now, that's all of the promo images talked about. I just wanted to quickly highlight this Arctic Assault Hiss bit of information. Now, they didn't really say a great deal, but they did kind of say in the panel that it would be later this year. They'd be talking about the pre-order for the Arctic Assault Hiss. And here it just says in black and white in the email that went out to the kind of press release. It says pre-order available winter 2025. And I guess, that makes sense. That's kind of what they said without saying it. So that should give us an idea roughly of when we're going to start seeing this. And it also means that the Arctic Assault Hiss listing that we have should probably go on the 2026 in-hand listing as well, which I'll move later. I haven't done it yet, but that'll probably happen later on. But I just wanted to highlight that. That was something that popped up as well that I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of. You can expect the pre-order, aka made-to-order situation for the Arctic Hiss to pop up in winter of this year, which is cool. Cliff says, question, are the rest of the 2025 unknowns just going to drop off the page as the first wave of 2026 are being shown? Are the rest of 2025 unknowns? Probably. We'll have to see, won't we? Like, we'll know by the end of the year what Chairface is, whether we like it or not. AKA, we'll know if it's actually happening, or if it's one of those inactive listings. We'll know either way by the end of the year, or sooner. Who knows? Either way, I'll let you know as soon as I know, and we'll clean up that particular. Well, I won't let you know as soon as I know. I'll let you know as soon as we are allowed to let you know, if you know what I mean. Like if there's a name only reveal attached to it, then yeah, of course I will unlock that listing. As is, which this is the worst way, Cliff, isn't it? Sorry, it's of me saying I don't really know. So don't know yet, but we will do. Any idea of price? I'll go back. Sorry, Realism says, any idea of price? Not really. I would imagine, I think in my head, I'm thinking it's got to be between like 150 and 200, hasn't it? So I'm just going to sit in like a 175 kind of place. I'm going to sit in a 174.99 area, just as and I don't actually know. We don't actually have the price on this one, so that's really a bit of it's just a speculative guess. I would say probably, like I said, between like a 150, 200. 150 would be sort of like low end acceptability, and 200 would be kind of pushing it, wouldn't it? So I think they've got to probably take that into consideration. Unfortunately, there's other things to take into consideration as well. Currently, prices have gone up in general, so I don't know. I'm expecting something around 175 or 174.99, something stupid like that. But I don't know. What do you think, actually? Because I'm literally guessing. What do you guys think? More interested in that, actually, because again, I'm crap at this. I never judge it right. Like, Realism says, I could see that, Chris. Jedi Ben says, I mean, we've already paid for the R&D. To some degree, yeah, there's a little bit of new on there, but you're right. Couchboy says 150. Yeah, I think 150 would be low end, personally. I wouldn't be surprised. but I would a little bit. I'd be happy if it's 150, genuinely. Blitz is saying 175, give or take. We'll have to see, won't we, at the end of the day? But it's interesting to see what you guys think. Buyer says 174.99 sounds reasonable. Doesn't sound reasonable, does it? It sounds reasonable as an idea as to what Hasbro are going to charge for it. It's not reasonable in the sense of, yeah, that's something I want to spend money on. That's with a driver, Adam. Yeah, we know what the driver is. It's the the Snow Serpent body with the Hiss driver head that's been shown off in the booth. But yeah, it's definitely with a driver, and I think it'll be around about that. James says 3 less figures, no electronics plus tariffs, 199. To be honest, I said 200 as well at the high end, and I don't want it to be that. I really would want it to be less than that, but we'll have to see, won't we? Without the LEDs, such could be the difference maker for sure, Droz. Jedi Ben says 225. You see, I like the thinking of going to that, and then you hope to be pleasantly surprised afterwards. But yeah, I can't see it being 225. I mean, if it was 225, I think we're in HasLab territory, which is a stupid thing to say when we're dealing with HasLab tooling. But there's a lot of other things going into this. Like, it's not a HasLab. It already sort of tooling wise exists to a degree. They're going to have to make some, so there's going to be new aspects they have to do. There's going to be what's the other thing? Like, new elements they have to take into consideration, but there are things they don't have to do with it as well. So I don't know. Modern pricing is a bit of a bummer at the moment, isn't it? Anyway, in general, with everything. I think whatever it was going to be, mark it up at least $30 for the tariff tax. Oh, God, I know. That's another thing that's happening in November. God's sake. Give me a break. All electronics gone, but with working treads, says Bias. Yep. Will the LEDs be removed? Yes. White says, if 150, I'm ordering 5. If 200, I get 3, says White. Adam says, with the driver, anything below 200 seems reasonable given the size and play value. Andrew says 175. Jedi Ben says, I just say that with modern pricing versus when the other one came out with the Hazard. I know I'm not saying you're wrong, Jedi, like Ben. I'm saying, like, if it's not less than 200, I think, like, there's an issue. Do you know what I mean? Who knows though at the moment? Like, it's really hard to gauge. I hope there's a window on the box for the driver. Probably would be, chat. Well, I don't know, actually. That's a good point, actually, Chaz. I'd have no idea, because, like, it wouldn't be a HasLab vehicle, but it is the size of a friggin' HasLab. So would it be like a box like the Rattler and the Hiss and the Dragonfly, or would it? It's not going to be as premium with slidey things and all sorts of crazy art. It will be probably like your Ore Striker and your Vamp and that kind of box. So yeah, I think you might have like a little window with the figure in it. That'd be kind of fun, actually. New York Knight says driver should have been the Ice Viper. Well, I don't agree with that, but only because personally I want to see a wolf, and I think a wolf is possible in the future. Personally, these photos of it in the Hiss tank photos from NYCC on the front page, says Bias. Okay, the ML Sentinel was 175. I priced this about the same, says Scott. Interesting. Chaz says, I wish they didn't use the entire Snow Serpent body. I wish it was changed up a bit. Oh, for the driver, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it makes sense. Like, it's like the original Arctic Hiss with the similar sort of driver, the same sort of driver, Snow Serpent body, Hiss driver head. And I wanted that, and I'm kind of glad it's been done. But we'll have, I say we'll have to see. We've kind of seen it now, but there's actually a lot more that they're doing with this. Like, the canopy isn't just going to be flat red; it's going to be semi-transparent or transparent. So it's going to be a nice red, sort of kind of like clear. I'm sure there'd be other elements and aspects maybe kind of that change over time, but it looks dope. And I really do love the fact that they added that sort of extra digital camo. I think that was a really nice kind of touch on that one. And you might be asking, Chris, why we're not looking at actual images of the Arctic Hiss? It's because we looked at them yesterday, and I've posted new ones today. Like, it's do we need to look at it? I just wanted to talk about this one aspect, and we've kind of gone into so much detail with other things that I realize I could have used a better visual at this stage. Anyway, that's all that we talk. That's all for that. Doesn't make any sense. Now, Cold Slither are playing right now. Actually, they're about 25 minutes in, aren't they? So hope you enjoy it. There you go. There's no much point me talking about this anymore because now that I've got there, they're already live. MCM Comic Con in London is happening on the 25th of October. More reveals and fun stuff to come from that show and from LucaCon in Italy, apparently. So, and that's on the 29th of October to the 2nd of November. So 2 more fun things for the end of the month to enjoy and look forward to. Can't wait. Now, the listings, nothing has changed since we last did this, but I will be more than likely moving the Arctic Assault Hiss listing over to 2026 once, by the next episode, which will be in about 5 minutes' time, right? So that's no changes there. And it's only Chairface that's really left open because Ralph T is inactive. No retro Ralph T listing, it's inactive. It's likely that the figure that it was supposed to be ended up in 2026. Okay, don't you worry. They haven't cancelled the figure, just the listing for this particular line plan. Excuse me. Now, 2026. I updated this the other day when we got the reveals and everything. So obviously we know Lifeline, Night Viper, Hit and Run, Big Lob, and Mole Rat Stage 2 are mainline for in hand early spring of 2026. Excited. Those pre-orders go up on the 14th of October. Excited for that. And maybe even more promo images. Not sure if all of the promo images necessarily have been leaked. So there might be a few more. And if there are, then we'll do another episode, would we? And then, of course, 5-figure waves going forward by the looks of things, at least in the near future. There are those 3 random ones there that are just sticking out: Deliria, Turmoil, and Randall. But we'll have to wait and see on that. And then, of course, the mainline deluxe segment. We have unlocked the Cobra La Royal Guard listing. That's Rudy Deluxe G2102 for those keeping track of that information on their spreadsheets. And then if we flip on over to the other side, we've got Taurus and Red Dog as the 2-pack, the JQ Johnny 2-pack. Kitty said, I'm maybe expectant of maybe seeing Taurus and Red Dog render MCM. Just, possibly maybe seeing them come out maybe as a pre-order, maybe. I don't know. Maybe Cobra La Royal Guard before the end of the year, because that would be dope. Considering we've seen the render reveal, maybe they'll be showing the figure next month, the end of the month. Chris, do you think we are going to get more figures total for 2026 since we are getting 5-figure waves now? We already are, Chaz. The line plan is bigger than last year's. So there's more here than there are here, believe it or not. So yeah, we've even got one more retro figure on the line plan because obviously we had to cut one from last year. So we're already at more figures for 2026 than we are for 2025. If that answers the question, I hope it does. The Royal Guard render does look amazing, Twisted Kister. Yeah. So anyway, sorry about that. We had a bit of I had to count, and I'm not very good at multitasking. So Globulus for SDCC next year? ? I don't know, actually. I haven't heard of any official information regarding Globulus yet, and that's genuine. I'll tell you if, I can't talk about something, and that usually gives you a clue, doesn't it? But in this case, nothing about Globulus yet, other than the obvious things like showing up on card art and being mentioned and stuff here, there, and everywhere. And I think Globulus is mentioned as King Globulus in Super 7's Pythona file card, which is interesting. So I wonder if there's one of those things where maybe there's a license, not a trademark issue with the name. I don't know. Maybe he'll be King Globulus or something like that. I don't know. But I'm not sure if you've seen that on the back of Pythona's file card for the Super 7 Reaction Plus figure. But it's an interesting point. But anyway, yeah. It's in terms of Globulus, I'm not saying he's not happening. It would make sense for him to happen now because he's the only one really left from the main crew Obviously, the other characters they could do, Cobra La related, like, regular denizens, sort of like scientists, like Cobra Commander before he kind of had the full change. Um, that's pretty much it, actually, isn't it, really? But like Globulus is definitely one of the main ones for sure in that sense. Now, as we were going down the list, of course, we also were able to unlock Crimson Guard, female Crimson Guard, Crazy Legs, and Zap. They are retro figures, and they're in the first 3 retro figures of the year. So maybe we'll see those maybe in hand. Maybe they'll go up for pre-order at the end of this year as well. Because it kind of, it follows the patterns, doesn't it? And it's the fact that they've got stuff they need to be revealing and showing off at a couple of conventions means that we're probably going to get a few more things before the end of the year. Kind of just makes sense, doesn't it? It's interesting to see where Globulus would have been trademarked aside from Joe. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's one of those things where it's too close to something and they're just being careful. Scott says the Cobra La figures are upping their air game with each one. Globulus has a very high bar set for him. True, Scott, but let's face it, they're not gonna miss, are they? I mean, Pythona, flip me, figure of the year, just too good, too good. She's too legit to quit, guys. Bias says Retro Wave 7 will most likely be at MCM. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a nice safe bet, isn't it? They've just revealed the name onlys. The lead up to that show, they'll probably do render reveals. And then for the show itself, we'll probably see the figures up for pre-order. Would not surprise me in the slightest, honestly. And that's it. That's all the listings information. Of course, the name only reveals we have currently are Iceberg Crazy Legs, Iceberg Lettuce, Iceberg Crazy Lettuce, Iceberg Crazy Legs, Zap, Taurus and Red Dog 2-pack, and the female Crimson Guard for Cobra. It's filling out a little bit, which is nice. Although these will switch soon, won't they? Like a lot of them will probably move into the digital render scenario if what we're saying kind of transpires. And that's what this looks like at the moment for digital renders. We still have the 5-figure wave of Hit and Run, Lifeline, Big Lob, Night Viper, and the Mole Rat Stage 2. They'll be gone on the 14th of October, and they'll be, green on the old screen as well. So it'll just be the Arctic Assault, Hiss, a Cobra La Royal Guard, and anything else they may have render revealed on the lead up to. But it's looking like we'll just have those 2 render reveals sitting there for a couple of weeks at least. Yeah, but it's all very exciting at this stage, isn't it? And that's everything except for one more thing before I go, guys. Full Force t-shirts. Yes, we have collaborated with Codename Iowa to get a nice little cute little t-shirt drop, a little pre-order t-shirt drop if you're interested in showing support to the show, and of course support for, if you like the logo. I do. I think it's freaking amazing. But yeah, we've got the full color Full Force logo on grey, black, or white, and we've got the one color green, blue, and red Full Force logo t-shirts as well. You can check that out on codenameiowa.com store, or you can go to all the listings we've, the posts on our socials that we've posted. I know, just as you're doing, as we're getting loads of pre-orders coming in, we drop another pre-order on you for a t-shirt. If you're interested, though, they're just, again, if they do really well, we're going to do way more merch, and we're going to do loads of cool stuff. And I'm really excited. I've got loads of plans, including a related design to what we've been talking about in fun and jest today. Anyway, so yeah, lots more to come, hopefully. And like I said, if you guys are interested, you can go check those out and order one. It's very helpful for us to do better and more things with the show. So there you go. And also a massive shout out to Brian Sauer for hooking all that up and basically just being awesome, designing our wonderful logo and rebranding and making us look really cool. Appreciate you very much, Brian. Shout out as well to Codename Iowa. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make assembly required this year. I'm sorry, guys. I don't think I've mentioned this yet. I obviously said I couldn't make New York Comic Con. Not going to be able to make assembly required, and I apologize very much on that one. Andrew Law, there is a link in the bio for the t-shirts, by the way. Yes, we will have more news on international shipping soon. It's being worked out. We should have that completely sorted by early this week. Okay, so yes, we've heard you on the international shipping situation. I just assumed there was an issue. It's being sorted out, And in terms of link in a bio, yes, this description below, you'll find a link to to the Full Force page, and you'll be able to just, order to your heart's content. Chaz says, I heard Hasbro decided on November to send us all 2026 product next year. Yeah, that would not surprise me. Jeddah says, you're busy planning Full Force Con, aren't you? No, we're never going to go that far. I never want to have anything to do with organizing a convention. It is a nightmare wrapped in an absolute pair of underpants. So I would not want to have to deal with that stuff, honestly. I'll leave that to the pros, honestly, and the people that have done it for many, many years. But no, we are going to do more merch, and I'm really excited for it. And I can't freaking wait to show you guys the cool stuff I've got planned. We've also got, I should remind you all, the Full Force Freakly will be happening on Halloween on Friday, October the 31st. So that'll be fun. It will obviously be just the weekly of the news that's happened that week, with a few frightening extras. I don't know about that. Boba Fett said, did I talk about the teaser? I did not, but I know what it is. I talked about it on yesterday's burst. I can't even speculate about it because we know what it is. So it'd just be like, it could be this, but I know exactly what it is, and no one's got it that I'm aware of. I haven't seen it written in any comments. That's not to say that someone hasn't correctly, got it. But as far as I'm aware, from what I've seen, I haven't seen people actually get what that teaser's all about. But it's freaking amazing. And I think you're going to absolutely wet your pants when you see it. Anyway, that's it. That's me for today. So it's gone on for ages, 2 hours. My goodness. I will see you guys on the next one, so tomorrow I'm doing a Patreon episode for our patrons. So I'll see you guys tomorrow around 3ish. And for everyone else, if there's a recap to be had tomorrow, I will do one. If there's like news that comes up on the, for the last day of NYCC, I'll definitely do one. But usually there's not really much comes out on the Sunday. But if there is something, we'll definitely do a burst, okay, in the evening to recap the day. And like I said, I'll see the patrons, the Red Shadow Army and the Full Force SAS tomorrow at around 3ish, and then maybe Monday. I don't know. It depends on what news happens, really, doesn't it? Thanks very much, guys, for joining me and chatting all the stuff from the recap of the day. I'll see you on the next one. Stay fresh, cheese bags, and as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3, Full Force. Laters. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, Full Force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.